welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2021 movie No Man of God. It's time to recall, let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie begins and we see a news anchor giving the news that they received a signal from the Florida Department of Corrections facility that Ted Bundy was being killed on the electric chair, and the crowds that had gathered outside standing vigil breaking into cheers when given the signal of his death. The scene then shifts and we see FBI agent Bill Hagmaier getting ready for work. We are then told that in the late 1970s, a group of FBI researchers proposed that by understanding the psychology of violent serial offenders, investigators could more efficiently combat serial rapes and homicides. This process was known as profiling. In 1984, President Ronald Reagan announced the establishment of the National Center for the Analysis of Violent Crime, creating the first 5 full-time positions for FBI profilers. Special Agent Bill Hagmaier was selected as one of those 5 agents. Hagmaier arrives at a briefing where their senior officer tells them that their work so far is being appreciated and the deputy director wants another batch of interviews. The 5 agents volunteer to interview various offenders, although when Ted Bundy's name is announced, no one raises their hand except for Bill Hagmaier. His colleagues tried to jokingly discourage him, saying that Bundy hates the feds and will not talk to any of them. But Hagmaier is up to the challenge, saying that he has had success in the past with criminals that no one else could get through to. His senior officer tells him to meet up with him later to discuss this further. When Bill goes to see him, he says that he does not want to step on anyone's toes, being that he's the new guy here, but his senior tells him that if Bill is successful in extracting the tiniest detail from Bundy, it would mean a lot. So many families of Bundy's victims are looking for answers, and it might help to answer some of them. Bill agrees. Later, we see Hagmaier studying Bundy's biography when he gets a call to write Bundy a letter, which he does. Sometime later, Hagmaier makes his way to the facility where Bundy is kept to talk to the guy. The warden there tells him that he is wasting his time, saying that Bundy won't agree to meet him. But when Bundy agrees, the warden tells Bill that Bundy is only going to mess with him. But again, Bill is not discouraged. Bill introduces himself to Bundy, and the man tells him that he knows him already. Bill then tells him that he is there to talk to him as they've been trying to get to know the psychology of serial murderers. He tells Bundy that he has been writing to an investigator in Seattle and he agrees. Bundy suddenly gets hyper because he apparently does not like FBI agents. He hates the fact that they have not been able to work around the witness protection. They think that they are better than everyone and that they have got the biggest brains, but he tells Bill that this ain't the case at all. As he's about to walk away, Bill tells him that this is not the case, and Bundy gets in his face trying to reach for him. A guard comes in, he tells Bundy not to put his fingers in Bill's face again, who tells the guard that they are just having a friendly conversation. Bundy, impressed at this, and Bill tells him that he is not there looking for evidence, he's there looking for understanding. We here go on to learn that Bundy himself has a law degree and people used to come to him for advice. Bill tells him that he is just there to learn if they are asking the right questions. Bundy says why don't they send the superior to talk to him, and Bill tells him that they think Bundy is not going to talk to them and they just consider Bill himself a rookie whom they are giving a shot at this. Bundy then goes on to ask Bill what he thinks about pornography and violent crimes and tells him about an article he read on the matter, and Bill is shocked at the revelation that Bundy knows about this article. Bundy then goes on to ask Bill many questions and ends up concluding that they have just sent Bill down there to break him because he's a hotshot young officer with a very impressive record in his career. Bill, however, tells him that he is just there to do nothing but understand. Bundy then goes on to tell him that the investigators are just like fishermen. They throw the hook at the small fish, they can catch them. The middle fish, yes, they can catch them at times, but that too, very less. But when it comes to the big fish, deep down, the big fish sees everything. Their hooks do not even get to the big fish, and those big fish do not take the bait. They eat the smaller fish for food. Bundy adds that only to catch the big fish is to become one of them, and Bill is not yet ready to do that. The guard comes in and Bundy tells Bill that maybe someday when he's ready to become a big fish, he will take him to the depths of the sea and show him what is down there. Upon being asked, Bundy tells him that he might write him a letter and says that if he does come back, bring some gum for him. Bill meets with his superior and tells him to keep pulling at this thread until he gets to see what is there on the other side of it. In 1986, Bill gets another chance to see Bundy. The first thing he does is give gum to Bundy, and Bundy says this is his favorite. This time, Bill has a tape recorder, and Bundy makes it clear that when he says the tape recorder should be turned off. Bill says that they should start with Green River. Bundy says he could add something to the investigation. Bundy says that if he could see some of the photos of the crime scenes, he might be able to talk about what are some of the changes this guy might be going through because after, he is just human like anyone else. He decided to crank it up a notch. Bundy goes on to talk about dreams. He says that everyone wants to do something in their lives. They watch it in the movies, they read it in the magazines, and then they just go like they have to try that. Bundy could be talking about those detective novels he talked about in his previous meeting with Bill. Bill then asks him what would be his sketch of the guy who has been murdering and raping all these people. Bundy says that the guy must be unemployed, or he might be working part-time because he has victims almost every night of the week, so it indicates that he does not have a schedule to follow. Bundy says that normal people kill people, you do not need to have a complex to kill people, so he is sick of being called crazy. Bundy then asks him what did he hate about his dad the most, and Bill tells him the story of when his dad killed a rat, and Bill started to miss that rat because he had gotten used to it. Through Bill's calculating questioning, Ted discloses information about his own patterns. Ted asks Bill if he could kill someone. Bill explains that due to his being an FBI agent, it could happen, but this answer is not what Ted was seeking. Bundy goes on to ask him the same question again, and this time, Bill says that he could kill someone and do all the things a serial killer can do, but he would not do it because that's not who he is. Bundy goes on to say that Bill could do it, and that does not make him crazy, so the same goes for him. He's not crazy either. Just like that, the second meeting is over, and we then see that Bundy has been writing to Bill on a regular basis. Back in Quantico, Virginia, Unit Chief Roger Dupe cautions Bill not to get too close to someone like Bundy because he could very much lose his way. The scene then shifts to Bill's third meeting with Bundy in 1987, when they share stories about their children. We go on to learn that Bundy has a daughter and Bill has a son. Bundy even shows him a picture of his daughter. He tells him that he misses his daughter. Bundy says that women send him pictures, and they particularly talk about one which Bundy says he has no idea where a woman even goes to have those developed. He then tells Ted to turn the tape off, and as he does, Bundy senses that Bill is getting too deep in his mind. He tells Bill that he does not think he can do it anymore as people are getting inside his head, and he does not like people getting inside his head. He then goes on to taunt him to speculate on what he would do if he escaped from prison. Bill then goes on to lay out the scenario for him. He tells Bundy that if he got out of prison, he would steal a car, drive up to Washington, and kill two people who have been getting under his skin. Bundy asks who they might be, and Bill says it would be an investigator or a journalist who has been unkind. He could also kill a guy about whom he might think could be having sex with his wife. Bill says that after doing all this, he would steal another car, go across the border, and never come back. Bundy gets annoyed at this picture and tells Bill to fuck off. After a moment, he tells Bill that he can turn his tape back on. He settles down and they go on to talk about his book. Bundy is not happy about how the content of his book is being perceived, as he says people do not understand. He says that his ex-fiancée also wrote a book about him. He eliminates another rumor about a girl named Diana whom people say he broke up with, and that is what led him over the edge. He says that the person who knew him better was Liz. Bundy also adds that people calling him the Master of Disguise is nothing but total bullshit. He then offers him to co-write a book with him, saying they would call it The Bill and Ted Show. Bill, however, says that he does not want to write a book with anybody. He goes on to disclose more intimate details of his life and what may have led him to murder, but dispels the myths about him. He reveals that he and Bill could easily change places, which deeply afflicts Bill. As Ted is lobbying for a stay of execution in 1989, Governor Martinez signs the death warrant, and Ted is to die by electrocution in 7 days. Hearing of the execution, the media and a crowd begin to mass outside the prison. Ted is now ready to confess his crimes, but will only speak with Bill. Though Bill is supervising interviews with investigators from several states, he arrives to find Ted's civil attorney, Carolyn Lieberman, taking charge. Ted believes holding back certain information could overturn the execution, buying him more time for further details. Carolyn doesn't want Bill's influence as an FBI agent at the interviews, but Ted insists he attend. He calls him his best friend. Bill says he has one more appeal with the Supreme Court, but they also want to put an end to him. Bill tells him to give them the truth, but Bundy says that he is going to give it to them in a measured manner. Bill then asks how many girls he's killed, and Bundy says, let's say 30. Bill tells him to give up the actual number, but Bundy says that he does not know because he did not keep the score as it got confusing. Bundy says that if some of them might be still alive, as when he hit them on their heads, sometimes they would wake up when he took them out in the woods. They would wake up when he went to get his tools, and some of them managed to run away, and Bundy says he was not able to find them. They then talk about Diane Leach, and Bundy says that she was a mistake while the others were his choice. He says that he should not have killed the 12-year-old. Bundy tells Ted that he is going to tell him everything once he is done with the bunch of interviews he has. At the interviews, Ted is evasive with his answers, only divulging information about a few murders. Ignoring Bill's conditions that no media be involved, Carolyn schedules Ted to interview with Dr. James Dobson, an influential evangelical Christian author and psychologist whom she believes will help with a pardon. When being asked why he did all that, Bundy goes on to say pornography. It is the reason he got pulled out of a decent family. The detective novels and pornography are to blame for everything that went down. After the interview, Dobson says that the message given in the interview is going to save thousands of lives and souls. He, however, reveals to Carolyn the governor was never going to grant the pardon. A day before the execution, the warden informs Bill that a last-minute sanity hearing will take place. While multiple consultations will be conducted, the decision to proceed with the execution will rest entirely on Bill's testimony to a psychiatric board, which ultimately declares Ted sane. Outside the prison, the spirited crowd grows in anticipation while Bill assists Ted in writing a letter to his mother. Bill asks to be taken under the water. With harsh details, Ted exposes how he lured and killed a victim, which leaves Bill overwhelmed and in tears. That night, Ted thanks Bill for being a friend to him. Ted suddenly threatens suicide, but Bill is hardened by the ultimatum. Ted has an outburst of desperation, asking why it's happening to him, still showing no remorse for his crimes. Infuriated, Bill exclaims his victims didn't prepare for death. Ted takes to his knees in prayer. As Bill prepares to leave, Ted asks him if he understands why he was killed. Bill tells him, "Because you wanted to." Just moments before the execution, Bill learns he has been removed as a witness to the execution and others will take his place. Left alone in the warden's office, Bill makes a phone call to his family. While Bill is speaking with his son, the crowd outside erupts in cheers. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.